Hey, what's up, everybody? Let me just repeat that because I noticed with the video sometimes it doesn't catch. But so, hey, what's up, everybody? First of all, welcome to the Sun Tzu Art of War Nuggets, and it's the book reading Art of War Nuggets with Sun Tzu, and just basically we're gonna go continue from where we left off. This one we starting with chapter 6, and which is I'm actually excited about it because we had another chapter, so we reached a new chapter, and it's always excited to do new things. So first of all, welcome for those who just joining. We're reading Sun Tzu on a War, Shambhala Books, Shambhala Dragon Edition by Thomas Cleary. If you got this book, read it with us, and join us. And everybody else, like I said, I got the a little snippet. I try to put a little snippet on the screen so you can follow. And let's uh let's go ahead and go. Oh, one other thing I want to say before we start. Did the video stop? I don't know if the stream stopped or froze because my screen froze. So give me 1 second. Like I said, remember this is testing. So, well, so I just want to take a look to double up. Oh, it's live, so I can't change it. Sorry about that technical difficulty. But again, this is part of me testing. This is the stuff that I'm trying to learn. So when I officially, when I say officially, but as I get better, these things will be worked out. So, all right. So basically, for those who are just joining us, what I do is I basically read Sun Tzu's quote. I give you my commentary, Bernardarisms. That's what they are right now. As I move on, and then I read the commentary from other generals and warriors of that period. And this is going back to 500 BC, so it's 2,500 years ago. All right, so this knowledge is 2,500 years old, and it's still relevant to this day. I think it's relevant. I'm not gonna say forever, but to me, it's relevant for eternity. All right, so with that said, let's get this cranking. So we're gonna go ahead and start. Let's give me 1 second. There we go. So let me see if that's moving. Perfect. All right, so we're on chapter 6, and chapter 6 is regards to emptiness and fullness. And first one is we're going to read it by Dumu because Dumu makes an opening statement. So Dumu says, militarists avoid the full and strike the empty. So they first have to recognize emptiness and fullness in others and themselves. Now that is funny because that actually goes back to the previous nugget. And I think this is 16. I think this is 16, no, 15 or 16. Whatever the previous nugget was, this goes back to the previous nugget. Because is when they're full, because full, that momentum aspect, when we were talking about momentum, that's being full, right? So, and then the cowardice aspect is being empty. So you definitely want to strike the empty and not the full, right? So in order to have an advantage, because the goal is you don't want to attack another momentum. Two momentums can collide, like a head-on collision. Is the impact is devastating for both parties, right? So you definitely, and again, go back to boxing because I like to use boxing as an example because I guess boxing is a microcosm of a war, right? Because you have two components, which could be two factoring states or two enemy countries or anything, but it represents that there's two people fighting um, to to an means. Each one wants to acquire the prize or whatever is at the end of that. So each one have their own purpose for why they want it, but is to obtain some objective. Um, so in boxing, when they were saying the like the when they were saying the momentum aspect, um, you have to recognize emptiness and fullness in yourself and in others. So you actually have to see it in others before you strike. So again, you like that's why I was going with boxing. When you're striking, the momentum or the how do you say it? It's not just the momentum, but it's the confidence and everything. It builds the momentum. So when you see there's points where you'll see one fighter at points you'll see a fighter become empty, and then the other fighter is full, and then so you see that, and it moves back and forth. So there's at a point where the guy who's expected to win gets hit with some blow, and now he sometimes or she feels down, and you can see that they go into an emptiness state, look like they can't win. But then sometimes if they do something in a counter and then get a nice, let's say like just a nice shot, and they see that they hurt the opponent, now it starts to build their momentum. So you see this like tennis type where the ball of momentum jumps back and forth between the two, and that momentum actually wins fights. Where the person's losing, he gets a couple things, and then the other person is stunned that how is this guy still standing? Now once you start saying how is this guy still standing, you already at a deficit. You already experience an emptiness because that means I gave him everything I got and he's still coming. Now I'm having doubts, and doubt, all of that stuff is emptiness. Then the other person has the momentum in his favor, and that momentum can be overwhelming. And then so a person that is losing can become the victor when he clearly just momentum alone is what made them win the fight. That becomes the courage, the determination, all of the other positive attributes that would bring one to victory, but it happens in that momentum. So when they're saying avoid the full and strike the empty, you want to avoid some momentum. So normally, so you see, and that's one of the tactics too. So if you see someone with momentum, you want to try to stop that momentum, because then it becomes definitely to your disadvantage. I spent a little too much time on that, but I ain't even start reading yet, and we're 7 minutes in, but still, it's the gist of the book. So I just wanted to go back to that, and I did get a little carried away, which I do every now and then, so excuse me. But anyway, Master Son says, those who are first on the battlefield and await the opponents are at ease. Those who are last on the battlefield and head into battle get worn out. Wow. Yeah, that makes sense. Because if you're on a battlefield, it's like coming to work early, right? If you get to work early, you're at ease, man. You already had your whatever you do in the morning. You did your morning routine at work, and then or at any of your business, hopefully at your own organization, right? So we promote business first, like being your own boss, right? So everything is good, but I'm just saying, if being your own boss, if you're working, all the same, but it's just we promote it. And one of the things is if you're there early, it makes you at much more ease, much more at rest, and you can basically absorb the environment. But if somebody's like coming in late, you already know they're rushing. By the time they're exhausted when they got in, right? So by the time they started, they're exhausted. So if you got two people at the job, or two, you're a boss, and two bosses have those two different experiences, they'll have two different outcomes in regards to the day. And that we can go back into momentum as well on that. But anyway, that's my take on it. Right? So it takes a lot of stress just being late, or last. When they say last, I'm just using that as late. So now let's see what Jilin says. Those who first position themselves in an advantageous place and awaits opponents, they are prepared. So the troops are relaxed. If the opponents are in an advantageous position, then you should not go to them, but withdraw your troops to another base, making it appear that you will not oppose their army. Opponents will then think you have no strategy and will come and attack you. Then you can turn things around and make opponents tired without wearing yourself out. Okay, so that was Gia Lynn's response. Like I can see it, because if you get there first to the battlefield, you actually get to choose the position too. So that's another aspect that I didn't even think of. You can actually better prepare yourself and then pick the part. And then now the people who are coming into battle has to come into take the position, which is obviously going to be the one that has not the advantage. So you do want to be the early bird to get the first worm. And that first worm is the actual advantageous position. So that's actually a good, so GLN, that's good work on that one. And yeah, that makes sense. All right, so that's that. And so we'll go to the next one. And we have Master Sun says, therefore, good warriors cause others to come to them and do not go to others. So GLN, I like now what she says after that Sun Tzu statement makes even more sense, right? So yeah, you that you have no strategy, you will come to attack. But now she turned it around. But overall, it's therefore good to cause warriors to come to you, because you get if they come into me, I already set the grounds, I already set the terrain, I already chose. Excuse me. This is you're actually coming into my strategy, so you kind of playing into my which automatically puts you at a disadvantage because now I'm in control of the setup, the environment. So it gives an advantage. But what GLN did, what I like, what she said, is that you can also use deception to make it look like you're retreating, to bring them into to make them come after you, which actually turns that around. So that's like that cat and mouse back and forth, right? So, and then that goes into battle, strategic battle. And when we do the Call of Duty, because I'm gonna use Call of Duty references because like I play Call of Duty, and you guys can check it out. But what happens is in Call of Duty that happens as well, right? So there's times where I got my buddies, we all lined up. I see something and I run, and then normally when somebody see you run and they see it's just you, they're gonna come after you. The team is gonna come. Meanwhile, we got claymores, we got mines set up, and we're waiting in strategic positions, just like he's saying here. And then when they run through, they're just running right into a trap. And then so that's why I said this applies to everything. But that's what good warriors have other comes in. There's times where I do something, person jumps out the window, like on not out the window like that, but they jump down, and they'll come around and then set me up, and then now they got me hemmed up where I'm thinking they went, so I go chase them, and then it's just they come down and they can just come around and come back up. You don't even think to do that. So when you jump, you don't realize that they came around, and now you getting set up. So in many terms, this makes a lot of sense. Now let's see what Dumu says on it. So Dumu says, causing opponents to come to you, you should conserve your strength and wait for them. Not going to opponents for fear of wearing yourself out. You know what I'm saying? Come to me, wear yourself out, and while we rest, which is cool, man. So Zhang Yu says, if you make opponents come to fight, then their force will always be empty. If you do not go to fight, then your force will always be full. This is the art of emptying others and filling yourself. Yeah, that's powerful, man. Yep. If you make others come to fight, then their forces will always be empty. Now, when they say, well, if you do not go to fight, which meaning others are waiting for you to come, and you go, no, we're not walking into that trap. You'll always be full. And that means you'll always be full because you'll never go into that environment. So they'll always be coming to you. And this Zhang Yu would probably play a GLN tactic and then turn it around. So that's the tides of back and forth. Oh, did I update it? Yep. All right, so let's go to the next one. And here we're on page 101. Master Sun says, what causes opponents to come to their own accord is the prospect of gain. What discourages opponents from coming is the prospect of harm. Now that goes back in line with what they just said there. He said, don't go in a fight because that's the prospect of harm. And then the opponents who come of their own accord is the prospect of gain. So you're going to come on your own accord because you want to try to get there earlier to actually set up grounds and then create the advantage, which is gain the advantage. What discourages opponents from coming is the prospect of harm. Yeah. So if you go there on your own accord, you're set up, you take the advantage. What discourages is the other people from coming because they know that you're gonna set them up, right? Hey man, meet me over here. Like I'm not meeting you there. Like that doesn't even make sense. But that's the gist. So Ho Yang Ji says, lure them with something to gain and opponents will be tired while you are at ease. And Zhang Yu says the only way to get opponents to come to you is to lure them with gain. The only way to ensure that opponents will not get to you is to harm what they care about. Okay, so Cacao is saying bring them to you, lure them with gain. To keep them from getting to you, attack where they will be sure to go to the rescue. And this is a common theme. So, yeah, so that I could do it. So, my man, Do You, finally, we got Do You back. So, Do You, DUYOU, is saying if you can cause them to run while you hold an essential pass, you can make it impossible for opponents to get to you. As it is said, one cat at the hole and 10,000 mice dare not come out. One tiger in the valley and 10,000 deer cannot pass through. Bro, I love this stuff, man. Yeah, I'm gonna read that again. So one cat at the hole and 10,000 mice dare not come through. One tiger in the valley and 10,000 deer cannot pass through. Golly, man. So Do move something. Do You, man. Come on. That's why I said that's my boy, man. Because his name is Do You and he's doing it right. That makes it even better. All right, so let's go to the next one. But I love that. Man, I love that, man. Master Son says, so when opponents are at ease, it is possible to tire them. When they are well fed, it is possible to starve them. When they are at rest, it is possible to move them. Okay, let's try to break that one down. Because so when opponents are at ease, it is possible to tire them. When they are well fed, it is possible to starve them. When they are at rest, it is possible to move them. Like I said, man, that one is interesting because I'll take a quick look. Yeah, that one is tough, man, for me. I'm gonna take a shot at it just to give my what I think of it. But like I said, this one is pretty deep, and it's deep because I like for me to grasp it. So when opponents are at ease, it is possible to tire them. Yeah, I don't know. That one is tough, man. So unless he's saying at ease, meaning that they got their guards down, I guess maybe that's what I don't know. When they are well fed, it is impossible to starve them. So maybe if they're used to eating, maybe that's what it is. They're used to eating, and you take away their food source, then it'll be possible to starve them. Or I don't. This must be metaphysical, man. When they're well fed, it is possible to starve them. When they are at rest, it is possible to move them. And this is when opponents are at ease. All right, I'm gonna leave this one alone. I'll just say if they're at ease, it's possible to tire them because maybe they'll run into your trap. I don't know. They'll chase after you. And if they're well fed, it is possible to starve them because they're used to eating. And if you take their food away, maybe you can lure them, use that to lure them. And if they're at rest, it is possible to move them because I guess if they're at rest, they'll be anxious to go into battle. That's just my take on it. Like I said, that's a weak one for me in my head. So let's see what Cacao says. You cause them trouble with some affair. You cut off their supply routes to starve them. You attack what they like and appear where they will go, thus causing opponents to have to go to the rescue. Okay, so stopping their food supply. All right, I guess we kind of, yeah, they're well fed because they're well fed. You stop their supply. Yeah, I guess that's what I'm saying. All right. Lee Kwan says you attack unexpectedly, causing opponents to become exhausted, just running for their lives. You burn their supplies and raise their fields, cutting off their supply routes. You appear at critical places and strike when they least expect it, making them have to go to the rescue. All right. Okay. Opponents become exhausted, just running for their lives. Okay, from an attack perspective, okay. So Dumu is saying the arts of starving an opponent do not stop at cutting off supply lines. In the late 6th century, Yuan Huzhai or Haoji led an armed force to attack Li Mi. Li Mi knew that Haoji was short on supplies, so he feigned conciliation in order to wear out his troops. Haoji was delighted and fed his soldiers all they wanted, expecting that Li Mi was going to supply them. Subsequently, the food ran out, and the generals from Li Mi's army who had pretended to join up with Hua Ji went back to Li Mi's camps with their troops. This finally led to Hua Ji's defeat. Man. And see, that's the deception part. Golly. Like that's a good real-time example. And I like this right here. So I'm gonna read this again because this is an example of an actual real live example. I don't know how real it is, but we'll just assume that this really happened. The arts of starving an opponent do not stop at cutting off supply lines. In the late 6th century, Yuan Haoji led an armed force to attack Li Mi. Li Mi knew that Haoji was short on supplies. So Li Mi knew that Haoji was short on supplies. So he feigned conciliation in order to wear out his troops. So Li Mi knew. So Haoji led an armed force to attack Li Mi. So Li Mi knew that Haoji was short on supplies. Okay. So he feigned conciliation in order to wear out his troops. Haoji was delighted and fed his soldiers all they wanted, expecting that Li Mi was going to supply them. Subsequently, the food ran out, and the generals from Li Mi's army who had pretended to join up with Haoji went back to Li Mi's camps with their troops. Got it. So, okay, so Haoji. So basically, Li Mi was like, okay, Haoji, man, we're gonna yo, man, you guys got it. Y'all the bad. Y'all bad. We know you bad. You bad. We know you bad. So that's what Li Mi was like. So Haoji's like, all right, cool, man. You know we bad. All right, so being that you know that, I'm cool with that. Hey guys, they know we no joke. So let's just eat up all we got. They already know we punked them, so we're gonna take their food too. So let's eat all our stuff. And then when they went, when they finished eating all their supplies, Li Mi pretended to join up. Wow. All right. So he starved them, even though they were well fed. That's a good example in real life. All right, cool, man. So let's go to the next one. And so Master Sun says, appear where they cannot go. Head for where they least expect you. To travel hundreds of miles without fatigue, go over land where there are no people. Okay, so appear where they cannot go. Head for where they least expect you. To travel hundreds of miles without fatigue, go over land where there are no people. Wow. Okay, that one is straightforward. I keep saying straightforward. Excuse me, man. It's like 6 in the morning. I'm just nonstop. Appear where they cannot go. Head for where they least expect you. To travel hundreds of miles without fatigue, go over land where there are no people. I guess people fatigue you. All right, so I'm just gonna take that for what it is, right? He goes, go where they cannot go, and head for where they least expect you. Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty straightforward. The travel hundreds of miles without fatigue, go over land where there are no people. That part I don't understand, because I guess maybe if there's people, you have to have your defenses up. You can't rest. But if there's no people there, then maybe it's easier to relax, I guess. So that's my commentary. And so Cacao says, make it impossible for the enemy to get there to the rescue. Appear where there is an opening and strike at the gap. Avoid where they are guarding. Hit where they are not expecting it. All right, so Chen Hao says, striking at an open gap does not only mean where the opponent has no defense. As long as the defense is not strict, the place is not tightly guarded, the generals are weak and the troops are disorderly, the supplies are scarce and the forces are isolated. If you face them with an orderly and prepared army, they will fall apart in front of you. This way, you do not need to labor and suffer for it. For it is as if you were traveling over unpopulated territory. Travel hundreds of miles to go over land where there are no people. Okay, so that's the take on it too, man. Yeah, that's a tough one. So I can see that that's their take on it. I agree with them. And this, let's go to the next one. So Master Sun says, we're on page 103. He says, unfailingly take what you attack. Attack where there is no defense. For unfailingly secure defense, defend where there is no attack. For unfailingly secure defense, defend where there is no attack. Wow. So now when he says defend when there is no attack, defend where there is no attack. So that means your guards are up. That basically, I guess this. So my take on this is take whatever you attack unfailingly. So whatever you attack, you take it. Attack where there is no defense. So you're going to take the attack and you're going to attack where there's no defense. But for unfailingly secure defense, defend where there is no attack. Yeah, so this is basically taking a sentence and kind of like flipping it. Like this is yin yang type thing. Because he goes, for unfailingly take what you attack where there is no defense. And then to secure defense, defend where there is no attack, right? Because if people who are going to use this, they're going to attack where there's no defense. But if you defend where there's no attack, that is the place where they're going to attack. Wow, my man. You see that? Yeah, man. I like that. So you defend what you because you're going to basically cover everything, but if the gaps is what they're talking about, right? So anything that you're not defending, they're going to attack the gaps. So your gap should be defended, but made to look like they're not defended. All right, so let's see what Dumu. That's my take on it, but let's see what Dumu says. If they are alert on their eastern flank, strike on their western flank. Lure them on from the front, strike them from behind. Lure from the front, attack. Because I used to do this, the aliens attack from the front to the back. Don't even, I had like this little alien head when I was working as a network engineer, man. And I had it on my desk, and I used to say aliens attack from the front to the back. This is a stupid thing I used to say, but it just made me think of that. But yeah, strike them, lure them from the front, lure them on from the front, and strike them from behind. All right. So Lee Kwan said, it is easy to take over from those who have not thought ahead. Yeah, so if you don't plan, it's easy to take over. I agree with that, man. Chen Hao says, do not figure on opponents not attacking. Worry about your own lack of preparation. When you can attack anywhere and defend everywhere, your military strategy is complete. If I can attack anywhere and defend everywhere, then that's complete military. That's cool. I like Chen Hao. Wang Ji said, attack their gaps. Incompetence on the part of the military leadership, lack of training among troops, insustainability in fortifications, lack of strictness in preparations, inability to effect rescues, shortages of foods, psychological disunity, defend with fullness, competence in the military leaders, excellence in the soldiers, solidity in fortifications, strictness in preparations, ability to effect rescues, sufficiency of food, psychological unity. So yeah, that's Yang Ji, man. So he's saying attack the gaps. And incompetence on the part of the military, leadership, lack of training. Oh, these are the gaps. Okay. So, attack the. Oh, this is actually good. So, what he's saying is attack the gaps, but he's breaking down what the gaps are. Incompetence on the part of the military leadership. That's a gap. Lacking of training among troops. A gap. Insustainability in fortifications. Gap. Lack of strictness in preparations. Gap. Inability to effect rescues. Gap. Shortages of food. Gap. Psychological disunity. Gap. Defend. So then he's saying defend with fullness. Now that's obvious competence in the military. You're defending with fullness because you're military, and that's what goes back to the chapter is emptiness and fullness, right? So defend with fullness, competence in the military leaders, excellence in their soldiers, solidity in fortifications, strictness in preparation, ability to effect rescues, sufficiency of food, and you have psychological unity, right? So whenever you, so that's cool, man. So when you're, this is what Wang Zi is saying. This is what Wang Zi is saying is basically being empty, right? So if you don't have competence in your leadership, I mean, if you have competence in your leadership, you're full. Excellence in shoulders. So your soldiers are training, they're great at their strategic and warrior skill set. Your fortifications are strong, built solidly. You're strict in your preparation, so you're preparing with your utmost ability to effect rescues. Well, because you can go ahead and rescue, and then if somebody's trying to take your food supply, you can stop it. Sufficiency of food, maintaining your rations and make sure you have enough food, which goes all the way back to the strategic planning and the assessments and everything. And psychological unity, where everybody's unified psychologically. This is good stuff, man. And again, so you could say, is my family empty or full? Like, are we all on the same page? Are we having conflicts? Are we have any of that allows others to come and attack your family, right? Your relationships, your business, right? You have your company. Is your company full? Is the leadership competent? Are your workers excellently trained, right? Is all of your lines of business solidly constructed with no gaps in it? Do you guys plan and do the preparations? The ability to effect rescues, we could say that is, go out and anything happens, you can actually recover. Sufficiency of food and work would be, do you have your pipelines lined up? In psychological unity, is everybody on the same ship headed in the same direction? So yeah, this is all applies to business. Wow, it's 33 minutes. I didn't even realize, man. All right, so let me move along. So Zhang Yu, those who are good on the attack maneuver in the heights of the skies, making it impossible for opponents to prepare for them. If no one can prepare for you, then where you attack is unguarded. Those who are good on the defense hide in the depths of the earth, making it impossible for opponents to fathom them. If you are unfathomable, then what you guard is not attacked by opponents. Wow. We're going to take that back to boxing, because Floyd Mayweather went undefeated and everybody they could beat him. But he says, listen, all of you guys been beaten before. So we've seen the formula of how to beat you. He says, nobody's beating me. So you can go and do whatever you want. You don't have the formula to defeat me. So yeah, man, that it becomes unfathomable. Like, how do we beat this guy? There's no blueprint. There's no way to do it. And one thing about Floyd is he always stayed prepared. Like, he worked out, even if he's boxing or have a match or anything, he just worked out nonstop. He trained nonstop. So he became the ultimate warrior. So when you see these guys and they're number one, a lot of times people don't realize the level of work that people are putting in, the hours that people put in. So it looks simple, but it takes hours and hours just to cultivate the understanding of what it is. Because every time you do something new, there's a bunch of stuff that you don't know. Even if it seems obvious, like even what I'm doing here, dude, like there's so much stuff that's like minor, but it's major. And then that's where you'll see, like, if you're watching these, you'll see the mistakes. Like, you'll see the unpreparedness and like all of that. When I first started to right now, there's a big difference because I'm just consistently doing it. That's why it's 6 a.m. I'm still here doing it, because I know that after any little bit of like interest, compound interest, every little thing it grows in like a compounding way, right? It's exponential growth. It's not like like linear growth. It's constant, exponential growth. So not only do I get better, I get much better. You plant a seed, you don't get one fruit. You get a bunch of fruits for each seed you plant. So, and then think of how many seeds from those fruits that you get. Then your abundance is exponential. So I know that that's what's going to happen. So I know that this right here is that this is the beginning, but you have to begin, right? In order to do anything extra exponential, you have to start at some point. There's some incremental aspect that you have to put in order to start getting on that exponential gain, and that goes in the sense of momentum, because a lot of it plays into a lot of different other things, right? So there's a bunch of different benefits from even just me reading this book, because I'm learning from the book, but I'm also using it to test what I'm doing now. So this is good. So those who are good on the defense hide in the depths, making it impossible for opponents to fathom them. Like you're so hidden that they don't even know you exist. So so what you guard is not attacked. They don't even know it exists, which is amazing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stop there because we're at 36 minutes, man. Time be flying on here, man. So we're at 36 minutes. We'll stop on we'll start on page 104 with the next one. But this was another good reading. I'm getting excited. And then let's go in. So I'm going to go ahead and guys, check out Godier.com. I'll just go through this. Check out Godier.com. You got my blogs, the music, right on the book. So check out the blogs because it gives you aspects into that right on the book. And then some of this is going to be part of the chapter reading. So this is going to play into chapter reading of the book that I'm working on. Check us out on the gaming, Big Nard 007 on Twitch. You can watch me stream. Again, at some point I'm gonna put some of the actual streams in this group so you can see me see us playing. All right. So some of the guys I play with, Dr. Boyce Watkins. Check out drboycewatkins.com. This financial advice, financial expert. Then we got my man G Mac. G Immaculate is he teaches. Well, he trains for Call of Duty. And I'm telling you, he practiced. I did talk to him, and he did mention that he read some of it. He didn't read all of it, but I already knew he had an understanding of what this is because of how he plays. But in the game, we're adults. We play games, but the games are you'll see the games are they're very beneficial in regards to communications because it allows you to simulate an environment where you're actually working as a team to achieve an objective, right? So even though it's a game, it requires a lot of coordination. And I just saw something where I don't know if it's neurosurgeons, but a lot of the surgeons who play video games are 36 times better at performing surgery. So you want your surgeon to be a video gamer, right? So it has a lot to do with from a cognitive perspective. So we're talking adult gaming, right? So it's not gaming to be gaming. But anyway, check out go to Godier, check this out. And that's pretty much it. Again, I appreciate you. I'm glad you was here. I'm glad you spent time with me, helping me test. This is very important to me and to you. The goal is to grow. I want you to grow. I want to grow with you and definitely appreciate you. And have a good night, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in the world. Appreciate you and have a blessed day. All right, take care.